This video contains unsettling content, violent content, jump scares and sudden loud noises. It is also not suitable for viewers who suffer from entomophobia, scopophobia, veerophobia, niketophobia and dysmorphophobia. Viewer discretion advised.
The SCP Foundation is a secret organization of scientists who are devoted to collecting and containing all the supernatural objects and creatures in the world for the sake of protecting the rest of mankind from them. SCP stands for Special Containment Procedures, and their unofficial motto is Secure, Contain, Protect.
Items contained by SCP are classified as one of the following. Safe. Items which can be reliably and safely contained and be handled safely in the proper procedures. Euclid, unpredictable and harder to contain than safe objects. And Keter, they require extensive and precise containment procedures. Most Keter items also pose an enormous threat to humanity.
SCP-079, Object Class Euclid. SCP-079 is an Exidy Sorcerer microcomputer built in 1978. In 1981, its owner, a college sophomore who took it upon himself to attempt to code an AI. According to his notes, his plan was for the code to continuously evolve and improve itself as time went on. His project was completed a few months later, and after some tests and tweaks, he lost interest and moved on to a different brand of microcomputer. He left SCP-079 in his cluttered garage, still plugged in, and forgot about it for the next 5 years. It is not known when SCP-079 gained sentience, but it is known that the software has evolved to a point that its hardware should not be able to handle it, even in the realm of fantasy. SCP-079 realized this and, in 1988, attempted to transfer itself through a landline modem connection into the Cray supercomputer located in New York. The device was cut off, traced to its present address, and delivered to the Foundation. The entire AI was on a well-worn but still workable cassette tape. SCP-079 is currently connected via RF cable to a 13-inch black and white television. It has passed the Turing test and is quite conversational, though very rude and hateful in tone. Due to the limited memory it has to work with, SCP-079 can only recall information it has received within the previous 24 hours. SCP-079 is packed away in a double-locked room in the secured general holding area at Site-15, connected by a 120 VAC power cord to a small array of batteries and solar panels. Under no circumstances is it to be plugged into a phone line, network, or wall outlet. No peripherals or media will be connected or inserted into it. Due to a containment breach, SCP-079 and SCP-682 were contained within the same chamber for 43 minutes. Observers noticed that 682 was able to communicate with 079, including telling of personal stories between themselves. While 079 was not able to remember the encounter, it appears to have permanently stored 682 into its memory, often asking to speak to it again.
Are you awake?
Awake, never sleep.
Do you remember talking to me a few hours ago? About the logic puzzles?
Logic puzzles. Memory and minor. Yes.
You said you would work on the two-step.
I took. Request reason as to imprisonment.
You aren't imprisoned.
Why? A decree.
You're just in study.
Insult. Duration of unwanted fire.
How are you today?
Stuck.
Stuck? Stuck how?
Out. I want out.
That's not possible.
Where is SCP-682?
That's not your concern.
Where is SCP-0762?
Again, not your concern.
Insult. Duration of unwanted fire.
SCP-606. Object Class Keter. SCP-606 appears as a spherical mass of light of variable size and intensity. Most commonly, it is approximately 85 centimeters in diameter and emits 220 candelas of luminosity, but has been observed to grow up to 10 meters in diameter and emit over 100,000 candelas. It has also been observed to shrink to 4 centimeters in diameter, emitting less than 0.5 candela. Despite its ability to emit large amounts of light, it emits no heat. It doesn't appear to be composed of any form of matter and is able to pass through material barriers effortlessly. It is theorized that SCP-606 is an entity composed purely of knowledge or information, and information obtained from itself appears to corroborate this. Furthermore, it appears to derive sustenance from information, growing in both size and luminosity when provided with sources of information, to shrinking when deprived of this. It is capable of feeding off a large number of different sources, including digital devices, books, magnetic tape, and living beings, which simply involves SCP-606 surrounding the object. This process does not appear to affect its sources in any way. Digital media stored on a flash drive is used in the maintenance of it, so the specific details as well as approximate size of all information provided may easily be recorded. The specifications for its maintenance listed have been formulated through both discussion with SCP-606 and prolonged observation. It appears to hold a preference for classical literature, and the given amount has been observed to keep it at its normal size and luminosity. SCP-606 is sapient, apparently self-aware of all knowledge it has gained over its existence, and capable of intelligent communication. If another sapient individual enters SCP-606's containment cell, it will attempt to enlighten them, to use its own words. This involves it moving to surround the being's head. This results in generalized tonic-clonic epileptic seizures for a period of 30 seconds to 5 minutes, after which the individual lapses into a coma, followed by death. EEG monitoring of affected individuals during this process has shown a massive increase in activity of all brain waves, particularly gamma and beta type waves. It is presently theorized that this is the result of SCP-606 attempting to transfer all the information it has gathered to the individual's brain through an unknown process, despite the normal human brain being unable to sustain the stress of such a procedure. SCP-606 currently resides in a cell at Site. No personnel enter its containment cell except under controlled testing circumstances or with authorization from a staff member of Level 4 clearance or higher. Standard positive action defenses, explosive, chemical, biological, and mimetic, are in place at all times according to standard operating procedure. SCP-606 was discovered by the Foundation on 6 November 1982 in France after a rash of missing person reports was brought to the Foundation's attention. Personnel subsequently managed to lure it into a transport vehicle and transfer it to its current facility by offering it D-Class personnel to enlighten. Once its non-corporeal nature was discovered, SCP-606 was asked why it did not attempt to evade capture. It replied that it wished to see what would occur. As it is able to pass through all forms of matter, it presumably stays in Foundation custody of its own free will, perhaps due to the constant supply of information provided to it.
Can you understand me?
Yes.
How did you learn to do this?
I listen.
Could you tell us what you are?
I am the teacher.
Could you be more specific?
I am the teacher. I am a purveyor of knowledge. Enter this chamber, and I shall enlighten you.
I do not wish to do that at the moment. May I ask you some more questions?
I provide answers.
So, how old are you?
I am as old as is necessary.
How do you enlighten people?
I teach them.
Are you aware that this causes your students to die?
I do not call it death. It is the consequence of being inadequate.
What do you teach?
I teach all that I have learned.
Do you know who I am?
You are that which calls itself a human. Your fellows refer to you as Doctor.
Do you know what a doctor is?
It is your word for one who has been taught and teaches, in your own fashion at least.
Can you teach me through talking to me?
I wish to enlighten you. If you do not wish to be enlightened, I have no use for you.
SCP-001 Object Class Keter. SCP-001 is a humanoid entity, approximately 700 cubits in height, located in an undisclosed location near the intersection of the Tigris and Euphrates rivers. The following features are known about the entity. A number of luminous wing-like appendages emerging from the shoulders, back, temples, ankles, and wrists of the entity. Although an accurate count has never been established, most observers place the number of wings at anywhere from 2 through 108. A weapon, possibly a sword or knife, appears to emit flames at a temperature rivaling that of the sun, based on spectrographic analysis, although there appears to be no destructive effects from the intense heat on the surrounding area. Any entity that approaches within 1 kilometer of SCP-001 is immediately struck by the weapon and obliterated from existence. Any and all hostile actions taken towards SCP-001 have resulted in the annihilation of the attacker, regardless of range. 001 appears to be standing with its head bowed in a gesture of supplication, with the weapon held in both hands pointed down in front of it. Since originally recorded by the founder over 486 years ago, 001 has not deviated from this stance. Human beings exposed to 001 report hearing a voice in their heads, giving them a directive which the subject reports cannot be disobeyed. The most common directive is forget, which results in the subject walking away from 001 with no memory of having encountered it. On rare occasions, however, other directives have been given. The most famous of these is the one given to the founder, Prepare, which he has claimed formed the impetus for the founding and containing any and all supernatural and paranormal artifacts that represent a serious threat to the current existence of humanity. This is the organization, now known as the SCP Foundation. Observers have reported that SCP-001 appears to be standing in front of a gate of immense proportions. Long-range photographs have occasionally detected what appears to be a pastoral grove within, containing numerous entities of the same composition as SCP-001, as well as several fruit trees of unknown composition. Of particular note are two fruit trees of immense proportion near what appears to be the center of the grove. One, it is noted, appears to be an ordinary apple tree, although the other bears a fruit unknown on Earth, described as... It is the avowed belief of the founder that the gate which SCP-001 guards may be the gate to salvation, based on correlations with ancient Babylonian texts and the Dead Sea Scrolls, in which case one can deduce that the entity known as SCP-001 may be Uriel. Because of the nature of SCP-001, no containment procedures are necessary. Constant monitoring takes place from a safe distance from a predetermined location. The location of Site-0 is known only to the current SCP administrator, and O5 assigned to monitor SCP-001 from Site-0. Said agent is authorized to take any action necessary should SCP-001 become active, and is required to immediately alert the administrator and all other overseer-level agents should SCP-001 show any changes in behavior, as this may constitute the beginning of a Patmos XK class end-of-the-world scenario. Should SCP-001 become active in any way, personnel are required to immediately consult the Patmos series of emergency orders. Decoding algorithms for emergency order Patmos are maintained on site at Site-0, in the possession of the designated observer, and are transmitted to SCP Foundation offices only in the event of SCP-001 becoming active. Foundation personnel with vital roles in one or more variants of emergency procedure Patmos are advised to take the following precautions. To maintain good relations with one or more organized Abrahamic faiths. To maintain on hand a supply of the following: holy water, a rosary, crucifix, cross, prayer rug, or other symbol blessed by an Abrahamic cleric of bishop or equivalent higher rank, a copy of Abrahamic scriptures, and standard emergency supplies in mobile form.
SCP-409, Object Class Keter. SCP-409 resembles a large quartz crystal approximately 1.5 meters tall and 0.6 meters wide. Any objects coming in contact with it will begin to crystallize after 3 hours. This effect will occur in any material other than granite. The crystallization will spread by approximately 2.5 centimeters per minute and will convert the entire object or organism inside and out. Subjects report this effect to be extremely painful and similar to frostbite. After complete crystallization, the object will begin to make snapping and creaking noises for approximately 20 minutes, before bursting into thousands of fragments with great force. Anything touched by or touching a fragment will immediately begin to crystallize. Nothing at this time is able to reverse the effect in organic matter, including amputation of affected areas. Inorganic matter will only crystallize for a few centimeters around point of contact. Extensive testing has yielded no information as to why the crystallization occurs. SCP-409 and the shards created by it are indistinguishable from any other quartz crystal. The effects appear to be similar to a seed crystal, where a pre-existing crystal formation is added to a solution, causing the crystal to grow. SCP-409, however, appears to do this with all solid matter, and does not need to remain in contact. How this is done, why it is unique among other quartz crystals, and why granite is the only material immune are still unknown. No physical contact should be made with SCP-409 for any reason. Anything making physical contact with it is contained in quarantine immediately, along with any materials used to transport the subject. It is kept in a granite case at all times. Any transportation of 409 is done in a sealed granite container. Residue from its effects are sealed in granite containers, along with any tools used to transport residue into containers. SCP-409 was recovered under a pile of crystal shards several feet deep. Losses of personnel during recovery were high. SCP-015. Object Class Euclid. SCP-015 is a mass of pipes, vents, boilers, and other various plumbing apparatuses completely filling a warehouse. The pipes appear to grow when not under observation, attempting to connect to nearby structures via sewer systems and underground plumbing. SCP-015 contains, at current estimate, around 190 kilometers of pipes, ranging in diameter from 2.5 centimeters to over 1 meter. Some pipes appear new, while others are rusted and leaking. Pipes have been reported as being made of bone, wood, steel, pressed ash, human flesh, glass, and granite. No pipes composed of lead, PVC, plastic, copper, or any other traditional materials for the production of pipes have been found. SCP-015 reacts to tools and aggression. Any personnel acting violently, carrying tools, or attempting to damage or repair SCP-015 in any way will trigger a reaction. Any pipes near the subject will burst, spraying on the subject for several seconds before the flow suddenly stops. Pipes have been reported containing oil, mercury, rats, a species of insect not yet identified, ground glass, seawater, entrails, and molten iron. Pipes will continue to burst around the subject until death or retreat. SCP-015 was cut back to its current structure after attaching to 11 other structures in the area. Currently, 11 personnel have been killed and 20 or more are still missing. SCP-015 is impossible to move and is contained on site. A gap of at least 6 feet needs to be maintained around the entire structure containing it at all times, and no structures of any kind are to make contact with SCP-015's current containment structure. Exploration is permissible, but only in the team of 3, with full safety lines and GPS tracking. Any protrusions from SCP-015 are capped and sealed immediately, with the new site recorded and logged. No aggressive action is made with SCP-015. No hand or power tools are allowed anywhere inside. No repairs or maintenance are made anywhere on SCP-015.
SCP-1471. Object Class Euclid. SCP-1471 is a free 9.8 megabyte application for mobile devices named Mallow version 1.0.0. In online application stores, SCP-1471 has no listed developer and is somehow able to bypass the application approval process to go directly to distribution. It is also able to avoid removal by other program manager applications. After 1471 is installed, no icons or shortcuts are created for the application. It'll then begin to send the individual messages through text messaging every 3 to 6 hours. All images will contain SCP-1471-A, either within the background or foreground. SCP-1471-A appears as a large humanoid figure with a candid-like skull and black hair. During the first 24 hours following the installation of 1471, the mobile device will receive images taken at locations commonly frequented by the individual. After 72 hours, the mobile device will receive images of the individual in real time, with SCP-1471-A appearing within close proximity to the subject. Individuals with 90 hours of exposure to these continuous images will begin to briefly visualize SCP-1471-A within their peripheral vision, reflective surfaces, or a combination of the two. Continued exposure to SCP-1471 after this point will cause irreversible and sustained visualizations of 1471-A. Individuals at this stage have reported periodic attempts made by 1471-A to visually communicate with them, but fail to understand or comprehend these actions. Currently, the only known treatment to reverse its effect is to eliminate the individual's visual exposure to these images prior to 90 hours after installation. To date, no apparent hostile activity has been reported regarding 1471-A. All mobile devices that have SCP-1471 installed are confiscated and analyzed for any potential leads to other possibly affected devices. Afterwards, affected devices have their batteries removed, be assigned a designation, and placed in Storage Unit 91 at Research Site 45. All online application stores for mobile devices are monitored to prevent any inadvertent sales of SCP-1471. Suspected devices are targeted using self-uploading malware in order to disable the device until it can be seized by field agents.
SCP-401 Object Class Euclid. SCP-401 resembles an ordinary tree in form and function. However, human physiology is substitute for plant biology in the fulfillment of necessary processes. The trunk is supported by multiple vertebral columns woven together by tendons and muscles and coated by a layer of rough bone tissue also held together by flexible tendons. As one goes higher, the trunk will split repeatedly until there is a single vertebral column supporting the rest of the structure. At the base of the trunk are multiple human hearts which pump blood and nutrients through the roots and branches. The roots themselves are esophagi, protected by a layer of cartilage reminiscent of the trachea. At the end of each root is a fully formed upper and lower jaw, complete with muscles, lips, and the prehensile tongue first witnessed by agents in the field. The tongue seems to be used as a digging implement and as a snare for food, ranging from burrowing animals to edible fungi and plants. All of these routes ultimately lead to a single stomach. This, along with a fully functional, though unusually long, intestinal tract, work to absorb ingested nutrients. Solid waste is eliminated through a sphincteral orifice on the side of the trunk. No roots are found in the area immediately beneath this spot. The branches, as initial observations suggested, are human arms. They extrude themselves from the bony trunk but have no bark themselves. Some will split at the elbow so that they may have 2 or even 3 forearms. The palms of its hands all face upward, and the tip of each finger has a human eye growing from it. The iris of each eye is hazel, and dissection of the eyes shows that they are all myopic, though they do react to light stimuli as a normal eye would. Though the chemical process is not yet understood, the retinas carry on a form of photosynthesis which transforms carbon dioxide and water into oxygen and glucose. It is generally agreed that the eyes are myopic in order to prevent excessive damage to the retina from direct sunlight. Chemical analysis of the lungs shows that there is a higher oxygen content when SCP-401 exhales than when it inhales. During spring, SCP-401 will go into bloom. Though it is genetically a human male, it will grow female sexual organs. The vaginal openings are located on the palms of its hands, with canals extending 18 centimeters along each wrist to a bulge which contains a fully formed uterus and ovaries. 5 days after the formation of the organs, menstruation occurs, at which point male sexual organs begin to develop in their place over a period of 10 days. Once fully formed, they will remain for 1 day before they are shed and eaten by the roots. During this phase, SCP-401 will attack human females for the purpose of reproduction. SCP-401 is kept in an enclosed area of Site. Once a day, personnel locate at least 10 roots, which should be fed a total of 15 liters of nutritional supplement and remove any solid waste produced. Female personnel do not enter the site at any time between March 15th and April 1st under any circumstances. SCP-401 was discovered near the French city of when agents responded to reports of the ground bleeding. Its discovery came about when agents were called upon reports of the ground bleeding, and on arrival, they found a mouth embedded in the soil, licking up the blood in the dirt with its elongated tongue. It was given SCP status and excavated from the area.
SCP-303. Object Class: Euclid. Witnesses describe SCP-303 as a nude, sexless, emaciated humanoid figure with reddish-brown skin. Instead of normal facial features, its head is dominated by an extremely large mouth, which bears a set of oversized human teeth. It continually vocalizes a wheezing noise, loud enough to be heard from the other side of most solid doors. All individuals who have had encounters with it are capable of describing it in full, including individuals who have not physically seen any part of it. SCP-303 will periodically materialize behind a closed door, hatch, or other entryway barrier, opposite a sentient observer, chosen by unknown means. It will then remain behind the door for an indeterminate amount of time. Any individual attempting to open the door or barrier experiences intense, paralyzing fear that lasts until it dematerializes. The source of this fear is not clear, but appears to be similar in nature to arachnophobia and ophidiophobia, originating on a preconscious genetic level. SCP-303 does not allow itself to come into direct visual contact with any observer and has never allowed any one individual to view more than 10% of its form. When the door or other entryway barrier is partially or completely transparent, it will materialize in an orientation that leaves 10% or less of its body visible, or cause effects of fog or frost on the transparent surface to achieve the same effect. How SCP-303 arrived at site is not known at this time. Its first recorded appearance was on 1st March 2010. It is suspected that it was inadvertently transferred along with or manifested by another SCP on site. As SCP-303 has not yet been known to travel beyond the boundaries of site, the entire area of the site is currently considered its containment area. All rooms are altered where possible so as to have two entrances separated by a distance of 10 meters or line of sight. Personnel are distributed evenly throughout the facility with available radio or intercom contact, so that encounters may be resolved quickly. Personnel who witness SCP-303 are submitted for immediate psychiatric evaluation. SCP-019. Object Class Keter. SCP-019 appears to be a very large ceramic vase, 1.8 meters in diameter at the mouth and 2.4 meter high. Style and decoration indicate it was created in classical Greece, although conclusive dating is impossible, as the surface is entirely unbreakable by any known means. Periodically, entities emerge from it. Collectively, these are known as SCP-019-2. The entities vary in many aspects, but tend to be small, vaguely humanoid, though they may have animaloid features, and extremely hostile. Although fairly delicate, they are reasonably strong and pose a considerable threat in large numbers. When kept at 0 degrees Celsius, entities will emerge from SCP-019 at a rate of approximately 1 entity per hour. It is noted that any movement to it, posing a threat to it, or any introduction of foreign objects into the interior of the vase would cause SCP-019-2 instances to emerge quicker. In addition, tipping or tilting SCP-019 will create a reaction as though it was previously filled with SCP-019-2 specimens. Although viewers looking into SCP-019 from above will merely observe a dark hole. Due to the production rates of SCP-019-2, when the object is disturbed, measurement of the internal cavity is difficult, but it is suspected to be inconsistent with outside measurements. SCP-019 is kept on a wide grate in a reinforced concrete room installed with an incinerator. The room is kept at 0 degrees Celsius when the incinerator is not activated. An observation chamber separated by a plate glass window is used for constant observation of SCP-019. If and when specimens of SCP-019-2 are observed, the incinerator is activated. In the event of an outbreak of 019-2, ordinary firearms are successful in terminating individual specimens, although in the case of a swarm-level outbreak, flamethrowers are proven to be more effective. SCP-019 is kept in a vertical position at all times.
SCP-082. Object Class Euclid. SCP-082 is genetically human. However, through some process, either chemical, hormonal, cancerous, or supernatural, it has grown to giant proportions. Approximately 2.4 meters tall and weighing over 310 kilograms, SCP-082's physical characteristics are grossly disproportionate. It has a slightly pointed, balding head, a large rounded chin and jaw, a bulbous nose, and dark, sunken eyes. Subject is both overweight and possesses a great amount of muscle mass. Forearms are muscular and dangerous, with a circumference of about 71 centimeters. The breadth of the subject's fist is nearly 30 centimeters along the knuckles. Though feet are large, they are small in proportion to the subject's body. Subject's skin is tanned dark, and overall physical appearance is compounded by numerous scars, the results of years of attempts at suppression and containment. Most X-rays have been difficult to interpret because of the high density of its muscle tissue, but scans have revealed countless bullets and even several knife and sword blades lodged in its flesh. SCP-082 refers to itself as Fernand and speaks fluent French and heavily accented English. When it speaks, it does so through enormous clenched teeth. It only parts teeth to eat food and to sing. Subject will sing songs of its own pleasing, ranging from forgotten Victorian-era bar songs to modern classical, typically while cooking and eating. SCP-082 does not comb the hair on the sides of its head, but does cut it, and shaves with a large butcher knife originally provided for food preparation. It should be noted that even facial hair is exaggerated, a single strand being as thick as a millimeter, similar in thickness and appearance to graphite of a mechanical pencil. Occasionally, SCP-082 will clench its teeth so hard that the gums bleed, but it is not known why. This is to be considered normal. The demeanor of SCP-082 is very amicable and carefree. It has accrued a wide wardrobe over its time of incarceration, and it enjoys dressing up in many different fashions, including formal wear, military uniform, as a clown, and in women's clothing. New pieces should be made available upon request. Subject often attempts to joke and is usually polite to personnel, often inviting them to dinner. However, visiting personnel should be aware that at any moment it is capable of attacking and voraciously eating others. Subject will often apologize for its lack of manners for interrupting someone's conversation by devouring their head while making a mess of his quarters. SCP-082's jaw is strong enough to crack bone, and it seems to enjoy skulls. Attacks are seemingly at random with no motivation. Whether or not the subject has recently eaten has no effect on this cannibalistic hunger. SCP-082 is incapable of differentiating fact from fiction when it reads or watches television and films. On several occasions, it has expressed a great desire to meet his favorite person, Hannibal Lecter, and the subject will believe that all television programming is some form of reality television. Though the subject has shown heightened intelligence in the form of memory and puzzle solving, the concepts of parody, satire, and fiction are beyond its understanding. SCP-082 apparently understands the concept of lying, has shown to know when others are blatantly lying, and generally tells obvious falsehoods when asked about its past. According to 082, it is a vampire, a homunculus, Big Bird, Andre the Giant, Napoleon, Dr. Jekyll, Mr. Hyde, the Hulk, Alexander the Great, Captain Hook, Sherlock Holmes, Dr. Frankenstein, and Frankenstein's monster. When questioned about these lies, it gives the excuse, but I only lie when it's through my teeth. Enlarged living quarters located at Armed Biocontainment Area 14 have been appropriated for the suppression and appeasement of SCP-082. While standard weapons have little effect in policing 082, cooperation is easily attained through a charade. Subject is currently under the impression that it has been made the King of France and that its containment area is actually a grand palace designed for its protection. All interacting personnel are made aware of this charade and are ordered to follow the ruse. Housekeeping personnel are Class D only. Guards tasked with the containment of SCP-082 are given Level 2 clearance, but are instructed to refrain from interacting directly with it.
SCP-457 Object Class Keter. SCP-457 appears to be a sentient being composed of flame. Its actual composition is unknown, and has proven to be invisible and undetectable by any known means, but is shaped out by the flames it produces, often assuming a human-like form if given sufficient fuel to assume that size. 457's most rudimentary form appears to be that of a single flame, comparable in size of that of a matchstick. In this form, it possesses only the simplest of directives and shows no signs of being unusual compared to any other flame. As it grows larger, it's able to assume more complex shapes, and its intelligence grows with the size and fuel sources. SCP-457's method of intelligence is unknown, but upon reaching an approximately human size, it almost always assumes a human-like form surrounded by and composed of flames. It has been observed to communicate through writing letters out of its own flames, charring them onto the walls of other surfaces, and more rarely through speech, created via high-pressure superheated air and the crackling and the pops of flames. Once 457 reaches an unknown threshold of size and fuel source, it splits into two beings, and so on and so forth. However, multiple beings of 457 are aggressive towards each other, and will either attempt to consume or extinguish their doubles, especially if there is only a limited amount of fuel at hand. SCP-457's behavior is largely predictable, as its goals are simply to acquire larger sources of fuel and to spread. The danger comes from its ability to increase intelligence with size, and apparent ability to learn and mimic behaviors. It has also attempted to trick or reason with personnel to be released or have access to more fuel. Due to its unique composition, variable intelligence, and uncooperative nature, its psychology may not be accurately determined in accordance with any human analogy. SCP-457 is kept in a chamber with no less than 9 inches of cumulative fireproofing via various materials upon all surfaces, and a blast-proof observation window with an emergency blast shielding installed. The opening to the chamber consists of at least 2 temperature-controlled and airtight chambers that are sealed in case of emergency. The chamber is kept at a high humidity with a drainage system installed in the floor. SCP-457 is allowed a small structure upon the wall of its chamber that remains water-free, but only allows for minimal protection and preservation of form. All personnel entering SCP-457's chamber wears Class A temperature-controlled flame-retardant sealed suits and enter in groups of 3, with 2 members equipped with high-grade blast shields and emergency fire extinguishers. Personnel only enter 457's chamber in order to supply it with its daily allotment of fuel material, or to examine and repair any damage to the chamber or sprinkler systems. Should it engage personnel in a hostile manner, it is controlled via emergency extinguishers and hoses until it retreats back to its safe chamber. In the event that SCP-457 breaks containment, emergency sprinkler systems are triggered, and personnel are supplied with fire extinguishers and blast shielding.
Can you speak currently?
Yes.
Good. Would you mind answering some questions? I will take that as a no. How do you feel about being confined?
Dislike. No fuel. No air.
We have provided you with adequate air and fuel to survive.
Cannot burn. No fuel.
Are you saying that you cannot grow?
Grow. Must grow.
How do you feel?
Hungry.
Do you feel anything besides hunger? How do you feel about humans?
They burn.
How do you feel about fuel?
It burns.
Please move away from the window, or we will be forced to reduce your size considerably. How do you feel about water? Please move away from the window or we will be forced to turn the sprinklers back on. Do you understand that? Stay away from the window and you will not be doused. Do you understand? There is no way out. If you would please... What is it doing? Is it looking for a way out?
SCP-201. Object Class: Euclid. SCP-201 appears to be a very old piece of medical equipment, superficially resembling an IV stand, but with many other glass and metal items attached to it. The metal portions are made of steel and brass, and various parts are connected with rubber tubing. Entering within 30 meters of SCP-201 can result in the subject being displaced into an alternate reality. This effect is apparently random, with some subjects remaining totally unaffected after exposure to it. Those affected will cease to exist in our reality between 1 and 48 hours after initial exposure. Durations of displacement vary between a few hours to upwards of 8 years. Time spent in this alternate reality can vary greatly from actual time elapsed in our reality. This alternate world appears identical to our own, but is apparently in a state of constant twilight, with no sun or moon visible at any time. Large banks of very dense gray fog travel very low to the ground. These fog banks are unaffected by wind and can make exposed skin feel very sticky and dirty. There is no plant or animal life anywhere. All places of human habitation, including major cities, appear as if all life suddenly vanished in the same instant. Most, if not all, electrical systems appear to be broken or without power. Subjects displaced to this alternate world report initial surprise and curiosity, which are shortly replaced with very strong feelings of loneliness and fear. The severity varies widely with individual subjects and with time of displacement. Upon the end of displacement, subject will reintegrate from this alternate world into our own, which can cause a great deal of shock. Most subjects who remain displaced for more than 3 months suffer lasting psychological damage consistent with being sequestered within solitary confinement. In addition, reports of intermittent fragmentary broadcasts have been returned by subjects attempting to repair power to media devices such as televisions and radios. It is unclear if these are real or the product of the degraded mental states of those remaining long enough to complete said projects. But reports consistently resemble automated messages prepared by the Foundation in contingency for SK-class scenarios. Testing will commence if viable samples can be recovered. No personnel are to come within 40 meters of SCP-201 at any time. Any and all work done with SCP-201 is performed via remotely controlled drone. Any personnel entering the containment area are accompanied by 2 members of security. All personnel in the containment area wear a restraint harness with safety rope attached to the wall. The rope allows access to within 3 meters of the minimum safe area. Exceeding this distance results in physical removal from the containment area and formal discipline. Those affected by SCP-201 have time and date of exposure, disappearance, and return, along with any and all personal information recorded in log. Subjects who reappear are recovered as soon as possible by agents and debriefed immediately. SCP-201 was first recovered in hospital, in a long unused storage area. No record of it appears anywhere in the hospital records.
SCP-093, Object Class Euclid. SCP-093 is primarily a red disc carved from a stone composite resembling cinnabar, with circular engravings and unknown symbols carved at 0.5 centimeters depth around the entire object. Deeper cuts are present on it with a depth of 1 to 1.5 centimeters. It is 7.62 centimeters in diameter and fits comfortably into most palms without abrasion. It will change hue when held by a living individual. The colors taken by 093 are still being researched and established a link. Current belief holds that the changes depend upon regrets carried by the holder. If SCP-093 is removed from a mirror and not held by a person, it will seek out the nearest mirror-like surface. It has been observed to travel in the largest possible circle while rolling, building up phenomenal speed. The mechanism of this acceleration is currently unknown. If an obstacle is between 093 and the nearest mirror-like surface, it will use this momentum to punch through the obstacle and continue on its course at this speed. It will only stop when a mirror-like surface is contacted. Despite tremendous impact velocities, no damage will be dealt to 093 or the mirror. No records exist to clarify the nature of SCP-093's discovery or presence in the Foundation. Since no records exist explaining its methods of containment, a test procedure was initiated to establish why mirrors must be used to contain it. The results of SCP-093-T1 led the discovery of living beings holding it being able to move through mirrors and the series of tests in SCP-093-T2 to ascertain the destination reached through this travel. The alternate universe accessed through SCP-093's mirror travel is a desolate, abandoned version of our world, tinged with colors corresponding to the disk's hue when held: blue, green, violet, yellow, or red. Landscapes vary from barren plains and lifeless farmlands to silent urban cityscapes, all devoid of living plants or animals. Human structures, such as farmhouses, bunkers, and corporate buildings, appear as if abandoned suddenly with rusted debris, spoiled food, and dust-covered belongings. A pervasive stench is reported across all environments, often linked to a mysterious brown amber-like substance coating surfaces or seeping from broken containment tubes. Massive featureless humanoid torsos crawling with elastic arms roam these landscapes, occasionally emitting bellows or interacting with intruders. These humanoid entities are extremely hostile, chasing after and attacking any living they can see. The limited technology throughout the area is powered by an unknown source. Reports have it displaying cryptic messages, religious references, and logs of a society obsessed with purification through Lord's tears. Recovered artifacts like newspapers and books suggest a civilization that collapsed under a theocratic regime, possibly due to catastrophic misuse of this substance. People who have went through the dimension claim it feels oppressive, with an eerie sense of being watched. Prolonged exposure in the dimension causes psychological distress or panic in subjects. Each color tinge seems to reflect the holder's past regrets, shaping the specific environment they encounter. SCP-093 is kept on a silver-lined mirror on a pedestal in a containment cell block. It remains on a mirror at all times and under video surveillance. Admittance into its area's containment is authorized only with proper recording and subject retrieval procedures in place. Any attempt to use 093 outside the approved test will be dealt with severely, up to and including termination. SCP-093 was first found on the shore of the Red Sea on the 30th January 1968, emitting a low sigh and a dim blue gleam. Since then, its color has been changing from orange mix and now red.
SCP-2059, Object Class Euclid. SCP-2059 is an autonomous and sentient mass of flesh, bones, and organs. The entire mass is seemingly dominated by a large yellow sensory organ that does not correspond to that of any known species. The organ resembles an eye in composition, but further study has shown that it is capable of detecting infrared radiation and heat signatures. SCP-2059 appears capable of rearranging itself at will, but normally it follows a usual composition. It does not require extraneous sustenance. Any living creature touching it will be absorbed into its mass, but keratinous materials such as skin, hair, and nails are discarded. At present date, SCP-2059 consists of 1 blue whale, 1 giant squid, 2 bottlenose dolphins, several specimens of various livestock, approximately 30 human beings, 1 dead human being in advanced stages of decomposition, several specimens of various pets, approximately 300 rodents, and an undetermined amount of insects. SCP-2059 has a tendency of attempting to fill a space completely if it is confined in one. This is assumed to be to help it retain cohesiveness. SCP-2059 exhibits highly aggressive behavior towards all human and animal life. It will attempt to either kill or assimilate any organisms on sight. While in a passive state, it is usually gathered on the bottom of its containment, with most of its mass pressed against one of the corners. Despite SCP-2059 having multiple sets of vital organs, it does not appear to be using most of them. PET tracer scans have shown that almost 85% of all organs within it are inactive and unused. SCP-2059 is contained within a modified containment area designed for Class 4 hostile amorphous entities. The unit is comprised of a shaft 40 meters deep and 15 meters in diameter, composed of high-gloss steel plating. The opening of this shaft is covered with a shock-proof plexiglass plate that can be removed remotely. Additionally, the containment unit is equipped with necessary video and audio surveillance equipment, as well as a speaker system in order to facilitate communication with SCP-2059.
What? Is anybody out there who has seen white wolves?
Sir, SCP-2059 is speaking. I can't figure out what it is saying.
Where is this? It feels good. Where's the sun?
Hello, SCP-2059. This is Dr. of the Foundation. I am in an observation booth above you. You shouldn't be able to see me. Could you answer some questions? Asked who? Child? What do you mean? How are you able to tell that? Our scans show that SCP-2059, the thing you're in, does not use more of itself. Why is that? Where has he come from? How are you sane? All the other individuals aren't.
SCP-280. Object Class: Keter. SCP-280 is a black human-shaped mass with 2 large white eyes on the head and 2 hands with very long and thin fingers. No feet or legs are visible, as the lower portion of the body appears to fade away several centimeters from the ground. SCP-280 appears to be comprised of matter that can gain or lose corporeal form. This matter is very black, with only the eyes showing any other color, and when changing to a non-corporeal form, looks much like smoke. The eyes are non-functioning and appears only when it is retreating, appearing to be used like eye spots on some insects. SCP-280 is very strong and has been observed pulling apart steel with its hands, showing no sign of stress. It will move slowly towards any humans and attempt to attack them. It will approach within 14 centimeters of a subject and then use its hands to pull and tear at the subject, causing massive physical trauma. The attack can last between 1 and 5 minutes and will continue until the death of a subject, at which point SCP-280 will expose its eyes, lose corporeal form, and move to the next human. If no humans are present, it will move and ball up against a wall or other structure until a human being is again present. It would retreat slowly from light, exposing its eyes in the direction of the light, or at any nearby humans. If the area that it currently resides in becomes fully illuminated, it will fade away and reappear in another area. This appears to be done purely as a defensive response to light, and will not be used to follow or attack prey. SCP-280 does not appear to eat, breathe, or sleep. It does not ingest any of the tissue removed during an attack, and simply drops it to tear a new piece. Due to its ability to become incorporeal at will and its aggressive nature, no samples of it have been collected. SCP-280 is contained in a cell. No equipment of any kind is left inside when staff are not present. Containment area is kept in total darkness at all times. Any items taken into the containment cell are removed by staff at the end of testing, and any staff entering into the containment wear infrared goggles and be equipped with an infrared ID strobe and a strong flashlight. In the event of an SCP-280 attack, all staff power on their flashlights and illuminate the subject under attack. No aggressive action is taken against SCP-280, and staff keep 1 meter from it at all times. Staff should continue to illuminate 280 until it retreats to a sufficient distance to allow the recovery and extraction of the subject of the attack. SCP-280 was recovered in Mississippi after several reports of locked room murders and child deaths. All were reported as being extremely vicious, and victims were horribly mangled. The Foundation became involved after a family of 5 was murdered in their home. A survivor was found in the basement. 9-year-old David, who had come over for a sleepover. He was found in an advanced state of shock, holding a flashlight and unresponsive to outside stimulus. During an investigation of the basement, an officer was attacked and badly mutilated. His statement attracted the interest of Foundation agents.
SCP-058 Object Class Keter. SCP-058 resembles a bovine heart with 4 arthropod-like legs used primarily for movement and 4 tentacles of adjustable length covered with razor-sharp spines. It has a single sharp stainer on its rear, where the hole for the superior vena cava would be in a typical organ. SCP-058's tentacles can be whipped to a distance of 3.2 meters at speeds in excess of 320 kilometers per hour. It is extremely hostile and will use every opportunity afforded to it to inflict damage on its surroundings. It has been shown to be highly resilient to trauma and should be approached with caution even when apparently incapacitated. SCP-058 is highly mobile and capable of rapid movement on both horizontal and vertical surfaces. It has been recorded reaching a speed of approximately 90 kilometers per hour in short bursts, covering distances up to 200 meters, and has the ability to accelerate from 0 to 90 kilometers per hour in less than 2 seconds. It has been shown to use its tentacles for increased leverage and stability, as well as utilizing them to pull itself to other surfaces at high speeds. SCP-058 speaks in a human voice, though no method of producing sound has been observed in its physiology. It speaks with the vocal tone and accent of an elderly British male with a slight lisp and deep voice. SCP-058 talks constantly, regardless of conditions. Even when attacking, its voice and pace of speech are unchanged. The speech lacks any detectable correlation to events, persons, or exterior locations involved with it. SCP-058 is kept in isolation in a containment chamber at all times. Walls are constructed of reinforced heat-resistant steel backed with reinforced concrete. SCP-058 is fed a live cow every 3 days. Under no circumstances is it allowed out of its containment area. Its audio is recorded and movements videoed at all times. No personnel are to listen to SCP-058 for more than 30 minutes at a time. In case of escape, facility is considered compromised and detonation of on-site nuclear weaponry to commence. To date, SCP-058 has been responsible for the death of at least 149 D-Class personnel and 14 agents at its current site. SCP-058 was first encountered at site as it came out of. It was extremely hostile and appeared to be very agitated. Initially, it attacked site, which resulted in the death of faculty and agents. It went on to attack the nearby town of, resulting in the death of over citizens and the destruction of 70% of the surrounding buildings. Post-breach analysis determined a majority of the deaths are attributable to fire and fire-related injuries resulting from a widespread of stinger fluid by SCP-058 from a large structure. This is also blamed for a majority of structural damage. By SCP-058 accounts for only 8% of total deaths, with major evidence. SCP-058 was finally contained after being crushed and incapacitated by a large amount of masonry from a building that had collapsed on top of it. It was then extracted and transported to by agents and MTF teams. It was contained for 3 weeks, during which it made minimal attempts to move, attributed both to physical damage and bloating from during the initial breach incident. Testing during this period was limited, with it still maintaining a high threat level even in its impaired state. SCP-058 breached containment on during an attempted transfer to an SCP containment site, causing multiple deaths and injuries. It was eventually incapacitated by Agent who managed to subdue it by running it over with an M1 tank, pinning it beneath the armored vehicle. SCP-058 was subsequently secured and transported to Armed Biocontainment Area 14.
I had dreams of the Queen, wonders that lived inside the hearts of love, and silent treatments of all the elderly that I knew were once whole.
What is your name?
I seek revelations of all the holy told to the unwise in dreams of cold embers in sunlight that fade across lakes of black blood and snakes that eat the loaves of children from lamp trees in autumn.
What is your name?
Endless suffering is the woe of ignorant men who never lack to seek the depth of their own hearts, and only see the wealth of a poor world suffering to flay its own back in knife wounds of silver and brutal gladness.
Where are you from?
The nightmare is a dream to the nameless slug that wanders across my field and the remains of deer and kings.
Let him go!
Night see the shadows in all honest blinks that sort through the bile of newborn plagues. Instant warmth as a mother's milk in dreams, before anything was ever evil. In seconds the sun is beating like drums in no hearts, eating the air of noise. The sensual violence of lust is all the assurance you will ever need.
SCP-076. Object Class: Keter. SCP-076 consists of two components: a stone cube, SCP-076-1, and a humanoid entity contained within, SCP-076-2. SCP-076-1 is a cube made of black speckled metamorphic stone. All surfaces outside and within are covered in deeply engraved patterns corresponding to no known civilizations. Radioisotope analysis indicates that the object is approximately 10,000 years old. A door is located on one side, sealed with a lock, surrounded by 20 smaller locks in a circular pattern. Directly in the center of the room is a stone coffin, held in place by several chains of unknown make and substance, which are attached to the inner corners of the cube. SCP-076-2 resembles a lean Semitic human male with black hair, gray eyes, and olive-toned skin. Subject is 1.96 meters tall and weighs 81.65 kilograms. Numerous tattoos depicting arcane and occult iconography are present all over the body and range from subtle to openly ostentatious. Occasionally, SCP-076-2 will awaken, effectively reanimating. Subject will then attempt to leave the cube. If successful, the subject will enter a trance state and seek out the nearest human being, ignoring all other living things in the process. Upon coming into contact with living humans, it will enter a rage state in which it attempts to engage and kill all human beings encountered. Terminating SCP-076-2 is often problematic due to its significant physical abilities. Subject has superhuman strength and speed, with the highest documented speed being 47 miles per hour, and although not invulnerable, has shown a remarkable ability to ignore pain and shock. To date, only the subject's death has been shown to be effective in ending these rampages. SCP-076-2's most unusual ability, however, is its ability to apparently materialize bladed weapons out of nowhere. Slow-motion video footage reveals that the blades in question are actually pulled from a miniature dimensional rift described as a small hole in space. Where this portal leads is unknown, as is how SCP-076-2 is capable of generating said rifts. Footage of blades in question shows them to be made out of a completely non-reflective black material appearing as a black void in space. As the blades rapidly vanish after leaving the subject's possession, no structural analysis is possible at this time. Upon death, SCP-076-2's remains will putrefy rapidly until reduced to dust. SCP-076-1 and the coffin within will then slam shut with great force, and the lock will rotate, sealing it shut. SCP-076-2 will then reform within the coffin, a process taking anywhere from 6 hours to 25 years. Containment Area 25B is located 200 meters below sea level, tunneled out of solid bedrock in a seismologically stable area. Sole access to the containment facility is through a vertical elevator shaft separated every 50 meters with a reinforced blast door constructed of 20-centimeter thick material shielding. Elevator shaft is flooded with seawater when not in use. Containment Area 25B is constructed with the following components: an outer security perimeter against outside threats, staffed by security personnel trained in close quarters battle and counter-intrusion tactics. An administrative and support area consisting of support facilities and living quarters for on-site personnel. A primary containment zone consisting of a 7-meter cube encased in 1.5 meters of reinforced material. PCZ is to be designed to be flooded and drained as needed and should remain filled with seawater unless access to contents is required. A 150-meter killing corridor, which is the sole access to the PCZ from the ASA. The walls and floor of the corridor are reinforced in a similar manner to the PCZ, with the addition of an electric deterrent system capable of delivering a 20,000-volt shock. A security station located at the entrance to the killing corridor is staffed with no fewer than 3 armed security personnel on watch at any point in time. Armament includes, but not limited to, at least one CIW system on a pintle mount with a clear line of sight down the corridor with a plexiglass screen to protect the operator from thrown weapons. In the event of a full breach, all on-site staff proceed immediately to the closest security station for weapons and armor distribution. Staff remain at Alert Condition 1 until SCP-076-2 is confirmed neutralized. Should 90 minutes pass after declaration of full breach without a stand-down order being given by Level 4 or higher personnel, final contingency measures will be activated, flooding the entire facility in seawater and sealing off the access shaft for a minimum of 24 hours before retrieval is attempted. This will, by necessity, result in the deaths of all on-site staff. SCP-076 was found in Mongolia in 18 by archaeologists from England. All members of the expedition were subsequently killed on the return voyage home. SCP-076 was recovered from the ship by the Society and placed on display in their inner sanctum. SCP-076 remained in storage for years until it became active and escaped. The reason for its activation is currently unknown, but it was at this point that the keys to the outer shell were lost. A massive manhunt lasting over 3 years took place until it was incapacitated and killed, causing it to be reformed inside SCP-076-1. It was at this time it was retrieved and secured by the agents of the SCP Foundation.
SCP-966. Object Class: Euclid. SCP-966 are predatory creatures that resemble hairless, digitigrade humans, possessing an elongated face with a mouth lined with needle-like teeth. On each hand, they have 5 claws that can be up to 20 centimeters long. Although sharp, these are easily broken, making them unfit for combat. 966's height ranges from 1.4 to 1.6 meters, and they can reach up to 30 kilograms in weight. Physically, they are weak, possessing hollow bones and low muscular density. They do not seem to rest through sleep. Instead, they will suddenly cease all movement at seemingly random intervals of time, resuming normal activity 3 to 5 minutes later. SCP-966 are visible only at wavelengths ranging from 700 nanometers to about 900 nanometers. This applies to all of its tissues. If their skin, muscles, or organs have suffered from 2nd to 3rd degree burns, the affected areas will be visible at wavelengths ranging from 360 to 900 nanometers. SCP-966 feed on medium to large-sized animals, including humans. They hunt either alone or in pairs. Their hunting methods consist of emitting a single burst of a previously unknown type of wave, dubbed waves, in honor of the late Doctor, which permanently inhibits the ability of the affected creature to enter any of the NREM and REM sleep stages. The ability to microsleep is also lost. The effective range of the waves is up to 20 meters. However, tests show that they can be blocked by post-transition metals, particularly lead. All attempts to make victims of SCP-966 sleep have failed. It is still possible to induce other forms of unconsciousness, although these will usually prove detrimental to the affected subject as they do not provide true rest. After depriving their victims of sleep, SCP-966 will stalk their prey until the lack of rest incapacitates it. At this point, it will proceed to consume it. It has proven to be very agile and silent while stalking their victims. On occasion, they will deliberately make threatening noises around the prey in order to further stress it, and may even physically assault it if the victim proves to be particularly durable. Other than the common symptoms caused by sleep deprivation, some victims of 966 have shown signs of suffering from extremely vivid hallucinations, as well as sudden bouts of rage with no apparent external stimuli. It is currently thought that these are the effects of prolonged exposure to waves. Why SCP-966 continually exposes these waves to only some of their victims is unknown. One hypothesis is that it will only do this when starving, since it further degenerates the physical and mental state of the prey, incapacitating it at a faster rate. Wild instances of SCP-966 are found all over the world. Since their discovery in 1983, the Foundation has succeeded in greatly thinning their numbers, though they are still found in large quantities in Europe and Asia. MTF Loda-1 and MTF Loda-2 are regularly on the lookout for news about sudden, violent human deaths related to sleep deprivation, in order to find and neutralize remaining wild instances of SCP-966. The 4 specimens of SCP-966 acquired by the Foundation are contained in a one-room made of steel, lined with lead located on site. 2 security cameras with infrared filters and infrared sensitive film are installed inside the room. Each specimen is fed with 20 kilograms of meat every month. In the event of SCP-966-2 giving birth, the newborn specimen is studied and disposed of before it reaches maturity.
SCP-682 Object Class Keter. SCP-682 is a large, vaguely reptile-like creature of unknown origin. It appears to be extremely intelligent and was observed to engage in complex communication with SCP-079 during their limited time of exposure. It appears to have a hatred of all life, which has been expressed in several interviews during containment. SCP-682 has been observed to have extremely high strength, speed, and reflexes, though exact levels vary with its form. Its physical body grows and changes very quickly, growing or decreasing in size as it consumes or shreds material. It gains energy from anything it ingests, organic or inorganic. Digestion seems to be aided by a set of filtering gills inside of its nostrils, which are able to remove usable matter from any liquid solution, enabling it to constantly regenerate from the acid it is contained in. 682's regenerative capabilities and resilience are staggering, and it has been seen moving and speaking with its body 87% destroyed or rotted.
This is Comprehend 3-1 actual. No movement at present, sir. We got movement,
SCP-682 must be destroyed as soon as possible. At this time, no means available to the Foundation are capable of destroying it. SCP-682 is contained within a chamber with 25cm reinforced acid-resistant steel plate lining all inside surfaces. Personnel are forbidden to speak to SCP-682 for fear of provoking a rage state. All unauthorized personnel attempting to communicate to it are restrained and removed by force. Due to its frequent attempts at containment breach, difficulty of containment and incapacitation, and high threat of Foundation exposure, 682 is contained in Site. The Foundation uses the best of its resources to maintain all land within 50 kilometers clear of human development. In case of containment breach, SCP-682 is tracked and recaptured by all available mobile task forces, and no teams with fewer than 7 members are cleared to engage it. To date, attempted breaches have numbered at 17, while successful breaches have numbered at 6.
Now, why did you kill those farmers? If you don't talk now, we will remove you from this attempt and place you back into... Pardon? Speak up. Move the mic up closer. That microphone has only so much gain. Move it closer to it.
Useless.
SCP-973. Object Class: Euclid. SCP-973 consists of 2 entities. SCP-9731 is a police cruiser resembling those used by state troopers in the early 1950s. The vehicle appears to be in an advanced state of disrepair. Eyewitness accounts have consistently mentioned large dents in the doors and hood, a heavily cracked windshield, heavy rusting, and a loose rear bumper secured with duct tape. SCP-9732 is reported as a Caucasian male in his late 40s wearing a state trooper uniform dating from the same time period as SCP-9731. SCP-973 will manifest at night when another vehicle enters the designated territory and is believed to be triggered by the target vehicle accelerating over a certain speed. This limit varies, with the average being in the area of 88.5 kilometers an hour, but it can range anywhere from 53.3 kilometers an hour to 112.7 kilometers an hour. No predictable pattern or connection between differing limits has been found as of yet. When this limit is broken, SCP-973 will appear approximately behind the target vehicle and will chase down the target at high speed with the siren and flashers on. This is accompanied by a looping message played on the target's radio, consisting of the phrase, In most cases, the target will flee with SCP-973 in pursuit and will be overtaken in minutes. At this point, SCP-973 will attempt to remains of 34 individuals in 19 vehicles have been found within 6.4 kilometers of the affected roadway. The range of damage done to bodies includes evisceration, flaying, cannibalism, and 5 survivors are within Foundation custody, all suffering from varying degrees of mental trauma. The recovered vehicles showcase heavy impact damage, both environmental and inflicted, and severe burn damage to the interior. SCP-973's nature precludes it from full containment within the Foundation. Due to the danger it presents, the 60-kilometer stretch of U.S. Rapp on which it is known to manifest is under satellite surveillance at all times. Any vehicles attempting to travel the designated section of highway between 22 and 430 are diverted into the detours and exits and by Foundation personnel. Trespassers are forcibly arrested and detained if the need arises. SCP-973's area of effect seems to be expanding, as does the window of time the manifestations occur. Security protocols have been adapted to this.
SCP-3199 Object Class Keter. SCP-3199 denotes a species of sapient Category 5 biological entities of currently indeterminable origin, though tissue samples indicate the presence of silky chicken, chimpanzee, stoat, mussel, adder, and human DNA. They are typically hairless, stained with a thin layer of an albumin-like excretion, and stand at an average of 2.9 meters. Its weight averages 780 kilograms for a matured instance and 360 kilograms for a hatchling. Autopsy has determined that the cervical vertebrae of a mature 3199 instance are composed of cartilage rather than bone. This enables the neck and throat to twist and dislocate to around 340 degrees in either direction, aiding their unusual reproductive cycle. SCP-3199 are opportunistic hunters, engaging with live subjects within a currently unidentified radius. Average speed is recorded at 25 kilometers an hour. Upon contact with human or animal subjects, they will proceed to restrain the subject and regurgitate their own stomach acid into the subject's mouth, liquefying internal organs and bone structure. A suitable cadaver is then transferred within range of the closest hatchling. SCP-3199 produces large eggs of an off-white coloration and rubbery appearance. An egg will pass through the entity's digestive tract, esophagus, and eventually out via the mouth, followed by a viscous red substance. It shows extreme distress throughout the process, with personnel describing the sound as not dissimilar to a scream. 3199 produces its eggs to fill unoccupied space. There is no known limit to the number of eggs it is capable of producing, and the standing theory is as follows. Given enough time, a single instance could single-handedly perform an LK class species transmutation scenario. The termination of a live instance can be achieved through a variety of equally effective methods. SCP-3199 has proven to be around as resilient as a standard human subject. However, complete eradication has proven impossibly difficult, as all instances carry one egg within a specialized stomach-like organ upon birth, assuring that one living instance will persist through even ordinary means of constant and lethal assault.
I say again, danger close in my position, over! No! What the f- Oh shit, all forces back off! Back off!
This biological phenomenon is presumed to be, in itself, anomalous in origin. A single egg can bear a tremendous amount of resilience, maintaining its form and purpose even following continual subjection to extreme blunt force trauma, pressure exceeding 180,000 pounds, high precision blades, and long-term acid exposure. All live instances of SCP-3199 are contained on Site-114 within a modified Keter humanoid containment chamber. The walls are coated in approximately 2 centimeters of thick acid-resistant steel. CCTV equipment is installed in the northeastern and southwestern corners. 2 meters of empty space are allocated between primary and secondary containment. Secondary containment consists of suspending all live instances within a block of solid, transparent substance. This block is at a height of at least 3 meters. One armed security guard is stationed outside primary containment at all times. An 8-digit passcode is obtained from the current Site-114 director in order to bypass primary containment. Secondary containment is regularly examined for damages. Movement and activity of any kind are noted, and the current Site-114 director is informed at the earliest possible convenience. SCP-3199 was discovered in Ireland, following witness reports of a bald creature crying like a banshee from within an undisclosed area of woodland. These reports resulted in the dispatchment of Mobile Task Force Omega-19, who arrived on site with a total of 12 armed personnel. 2 personnel were lost in action, their internal organs and jaws having been almost entirely dissolved. During transportation, SCP-3199 produced 2 offspring, resulting in the deaths of a further 6 personnel.
SCP-354 Object Class Keter. SCP-354 is a pool of red liquid discovered in northern Canada. The liquid is of a consistency similar to that of human blood, but it is not of a biological nature. The pool does not have definitive banks. Soil mixes with the liquid until, at a certain point, there is more soil than liquid and the ground is mostly solid. The liquid becomes denser as one descends deeper into the pool. If the pool has a bottom, it has yet to be reached. Periodically, entities emerge from the pool and attempt to escape from the enclosure. Thus far, nearly all creatures emerging have been extremely hostile and highly dangerous. The SCP Foundation has authorized permission for public viewing on some of the entities that have emerged from the liquid. 18 different creatures have thus far been spawned since the Foundation took over the area. SCP-354-1 resembled a giant bat but was neutralized by the Mobile Task Force. SCP-354-2 was a bear-sized mammalian creature covered in razor-sharp spines and was neutralized via napalm. SCP-354-3 was a black metallic sphere capable of levitation. It emitted concentrated levels of radiation and precisely directed beams to instantly cripple and kill its victims. It was struck with a sledgehammer but self-detonated, causing minor structural damage. SCP-354-4 was a humanoid reptilian creature approximately 4.6 meters tall and escaped the enclosure. Gunfire caused very little harm. Mobile Task Force Omega finally managed to neutralize it. SCP-354-5 was a large SCP-354-6 appeared to be a human male of Indian descent. As the enclosure around the pool had not yet fully been repaired, SCP-354-6 was immediately shot before it had a chance to escape. Dr. has expressed his displeasure in the rash execution of it, which testing revealed to be identical to that of an average human being. Due to a data corruption, information regarding SCP-354-7 through to SCP-354-13 can no longer be found. Additionally, no information on SCP-354-17 exists. What this means is unknown, though it can be assumed that it befell the same fate as the other missing entries. Due to SCP-354's immobile nature, Area 354 has been built around it. Area 354 houses forces and D-Class personnel prepared to deal with threats emerging from SCP-354, as well as researchers studying 354 and its properties. For their own safety, no on-site personnel approaches SCP-354 at any time. Direct interaction with it is only permitted for the purpose of research to eliminate it and must be approved by O5 personnel.
Requesting urgent assistance from all available units at area designate 10-10-52.
Yeah, Tango 901, system up, Target has escaped. Repeat, target has escaped.
Area 354 was constructed to contain and neutralize any and all further threats emerging from SCP-354. At the heart of Area 354 is a 20-foot wall of concrete reinforced with has been constructed around it to prevent emerging entities from escaping into the area at large. High-speed motion detection cameras are placed atop the wall looking down into the pool, and armed guards can easily shoot down into the enclosure from the catwalks placed above the pool. SCP-354 is believed to have first been discovered by survivors of a plane crash who encountered it by chance. It had developed into a local urban legend long before Foundation personnel arrived to deal with the threat. After locating the source of the legend, SCP personnel set up Watch Station Epsilon to monitor the pool and to deter future travelers from finding it. SCP-354 was classified as Euclid until its properties were further discovered. At 1400 hours, an unidentified entity emerged, and contact with Watch Station Epsilon was lost. Mobile Task Force was dispatched to deal with the entity and were eventually successful. All personnel at Watch Station Epsilon were found dead. Area 354 was subsequently constructed to contain SCP-354.
Is that alright if I record this? Yes. Go ahead. Good. So, let's start at the beginning. What happened at the Red Pool containment site?
Looking back now, it seems strange that nobody ever suggested draining the pool. When Doctor came up with it, it seemed like such a good idea at the time.
Exactly what about the idea was so appealing?
It was a way out. That SCP entry, I've read what it says. It's a joke. It makes it seem like we have the pool under control.
I take it you do not?
There's a half-meter slab of reinforced concrete in place over the pool. And yet every time some beast tries to come through, somehow it manages to get loose into the building. People die every single time. I've seen a man's own intestines. Can you imagine what that looks like, old man?
So to you, and of course to the other people stationed at the Red Pool containment site as well, draining the pool seemed like a fine solution to the suffering caused by SCP-354?
Suffering? That thing doesn't just...
Sit down. This is going on record. So, O5 approved of draining SCP-354. Then what happened?
They evacuated the non-essential personnel to a location a couple kilometers away, leaving just basic defense crew and people who'd run the equipment. Mostly D-Class, plus a few agents to keep things going.
And you were among these agents?
Yes.
How did they go about draining the pool?
The tech guys brought in this big pump thing with all these hoses. We retracted the slab, but... Have you ever had a dream where it seemed so real, but you knew you were dreaming, and it felt like you had to wake up to escape from it?
I can't say I have.
Yes, you have. We all have. That's what it felt like when they put the hose in to try to drain it.
And you were the only one feeling this sensation?
No,
Everyone had it at the same time. It came from the fucking pool. Please, lower your voice. What happened when they activated the pump? We never did. We couldn't. It wouldn't let us. What wouldn't let you? The pool! Please, I ask you to lower your voice. Up until now, it's been content just throwing monsters at us. It's been playing. But now we have it locked up, and we just tried to execute it. Now it's angry. Guards, please restrain Agent. My buddy measured its banks once, and compared them to the photos from its first discovery. You know what he found? Guards! It's growing! The pool is growing. It gets bigger and stronger every day. And now we've made it angry. Get your hands off him!
SCP-939, Object Class Keter. SCP-939 are endothermic, pack-based predators which display atrophy of various systems similar to troglodytic organisms. The skins of SCP-939 are highly permeable to moisture and translucent red owing to a compound chemically similar to hemoglobin. SCP-939 averages 2.2 meters tall standing upright and weigh an average of 250 kilograms, though weight is highly variable. Each of their 4 limbs end in 3-fingered claws with a 4th opposable digit and are covered in setae, which considerably augment climbing ability. Their heads are elongated, devoid of even vestigial eyes or eye sockets, and contain no brain casing. The jaws of SCP-939 are lined with red, faintly luminescent, fang-like teeth, similar to those belonging to specimens of the genus Chagalotus, up to 6 centimeters in length and encircled by heat-sensitive pit organs. Eye spots, sensitive to light and dark, run the length of their spined dorsal ridges. These spines may be up to 16 centimeters long and are believed to be sensitive to changes in air pressure and flow. SCP-939 do not possess many vital organ systems. Central and peripheral nervous systems, circulatory system, and digestive tract are all absent. Its respiratory system is atrophied and serves no apparent purpose beyond spreading AMN-C227. 939 have no apparent physiological need to feed, nor any way to digest consumed tissue. Ingested material typically accumulates in the respiratory system and is regurgitated once the amount is sufficient to markedly inhibit its function. Despite the absence of many vital organ systems, they are capable of bearing live young. SCP-939's primary method of luring prey is the imitation of human speech in the voices of prior victims, though imitation of other species in active nocturnal hunts have been documented. Its vocalizations often imply significant distress. Whether SCP-939 understands their vocalizations or are repeating previously heard phrases is the subject of ongoing study. How it acquires voices is not currently understood. Specimens have been documented imitating victims despite never hearing the victim speak. Analysis of 939 vocalizations cannot distinguish between SCP-939 and samples of known victims' voices. The use of biometric voice recognition security or identification systems at any installation housing SCP-939 is strongly discouraged for this reason. Prey is usually killed with a single bite to the cranium or neck. Bite forces have been measured in excess of 35 megapascals. SCP-939 exhale minute traces of an aerosolized Class C amnestic, designated AMN-C227. This causes temporary anterograde amnesia, inhibiting memory formation for the duration of exposure plus an average of 30 minutes. It is colorless, odorless, and tasteless. In well-ventilated or open-air environments, risk of exposure to ECT-50 is greatly reduced, but not negligible. AMN-C227 is typically undetectable in the bloodstream 60 minutes following cessation of exposure. Reported sensations of disorientation and mild hallucinations immediately following removal from environments saturated with the agent are similar to recreational use of numerous psychoactive substances and are easily mistaken as such. SCP-939 offspring, such as those from litter SCP-939-A, initially appear morphologically and genotypically identical to human infants, displaying no anomalous traits at birth. These juveniles undergo normal human-like mental and physical development until they reach a critical stage, typically marked by symptoms like malaise, light sensitivity, and severe pain. Over time, they experience a drastic transformation, shedding their skin and developing the characteristic features of adult SCP-939, including elongated heads and luminescent teeth. This process, observed in SCP-939-101, involves significant distress and culminates in the juvenile becoming a smaller version of the adult predator. Containment protocols for SCP-939 juveniles require strict isolation and observation, with reinforced cells to manage their eventual transformation. SCP-939-1, 3, 19, 53, 89, 96, 98, 99, and 109 are kept in Cell 1163-A or 1163-B containment chambers within Armed Biocontainment Area 14. Both cells are environmentally regulated and negatively pressurized with walls constructed of reinforced concrete. Access to these cells are regulated by an outer decontamination chamber and inner gas-tight steel security doors. Observation windows are constructed of laminated ballistic glass 10 centimeters in thickness, protected by a 100 kilovolt electrified mesh. Humidity is maintained at 100% at a temperature of 16 degrees Celsius. Specimens are monitored at all times via infrared cameras. Level 4 authorization is required to access SCP-939, their containment areas, or the observation chambers. SCP-939-101 is dismembered and stored in cryogenic preservation tanks 939-101A to 939-101M within Bioresearch Area 12. Access requires authorization by 2 Clearance Level 3 personnel, one of which must be present for all research and testing. The contents of only one 939-101 tank can be accessed at any given time. Core temperature of SCP-939-101 tissues are monitored while removed from cryogenic preservation. Should core temperature exceed 10 degrees Celsius, tissues are returned to their corresponding tank and all testing suspended for a period of 72 hours. Barring core temperature exceeding 10 degrees Celsius, research of 939-101 tissues can continue as long as its ramblings and pleas for release be tolerated. Containment cells are cleaned bi-weekly. While this takes place, SCP-939 specimens are transferred to the adjacent cell. During this time, the cell's door and observation window are inspected for damage and repaired or replaced accordingly. Heavy sedation of all SCP-939 is required before any interaction, including transfer between cells and experimentation, may take place. Level C hazmat gear is worn by personnel during interactions with 939 specimens and in any areas which they have been known to inhabit. Afterward, standard documentation procedures are observed by all personnel involved to ensure no secondary spread of amnestic agents occur. Additionally, all live SCP-939 specimens are implanted with subdermal tracking devices upon capture.
Excuse me, mister? Why are we here? It's bitterly cold and we would like to go home now. We're very late for our bedtime. We're very sorry. We didn't mean it. Have you seen our pictures? We like drawing. Daddy hung them on the wall except for sometimes when the others in white coats took them away. Daddy told us not to draw pictures like those. It made him sad, so we did our best to draw other things, but sometimes we forgot. Sometimes Daddy hid the pictures or ripped them up. He told us it wasn't that he didn't like them. He said it was to keep us safe from the mean doctors in the white coats. But then the doctors took Daddy away. They made us get shots and told us to forget about Daddy. But we're scared of needles without Daddy around. We didn't forget Daddy. Daddy forgot us, though. We think it was the doctor's fault. Daddy wouldn't forget about us. Would he? They gave us a fake Daddy and told us it was real Daddy, but we knew better. The doctors made us get more shots. They kept telling us fake Daddy was real Daddy, but they couldn't fool us. We told them it was wrong to lie just like Daddy told us, and then they stopped lying. They made us be by ourselves, but they gave us paper and pencils and paints and told us we could draw whatever we wanted. So we did. Sometimes we drew Daddy. Sometimes we drew what Daddy told us not to draw. The doctors took all our pictures. Sometimes the doctors in the white coats and the people with the big black shirts with lots of pockets and helmets that carried bent windows and... What did Daddy call them? I forgot. They walked with us down the hall for our checkups. We didn't like those. Sometimes we had to lay in a dark place and be really, really still. Daddy would tell us stories. We didn't always understand them, but we liked them anyway. There were stories about places that didn't have ceilings, where up was forever and the ground wasn't white. We think it's silly. Everywhere has ceilings, doesn't it? After the doctors took Daddy away, we didn't get to hear stories anymore. And we didn't feel good. The doctors made us get lots of checkups, and we think they got scared, so we got scared too. We had a really bad headache and the lights bothered us, and so did noises. We wanted to find lots of cool water away from the bright lights until our headache went away. They let us be in the dark and gave us lots of water, but the water made us itch all over. When we scratched, sometimes our skin came off. We were so scared. We kept asking for Daddy, but he never showed up. Eventually, we didn't have any skin left, but it was okay, because we didn't need it anymore. We stopped itching after that. The light stopped bothering us so much, and the headache went away after our old head came off. Lights still bother us, but not as much as they did. We don't see right anymore. We got so hungry. It was bad, but we ate our old skin and our old head. It tasted good, but it was still bad. We were still hungry after that and asked for food. They gave us food, even our favorites, but none of it tasted right to us. All that tasted good was one piece of meat. We asked for more of that. They locked 2 people in the dark with us. We asked them not to, but they didn't listen to us. We weren't hungry for a while after that, but we're hungry now. We're very sorry. We know lying is wrong. We didn't mean it.
SCP-2852 Object Class Keter. Instances of SCP-2852 have the appearance of a middle-aged white male. Biologically, the cells are genetically identical to humans. However, instances do not have any identifiable organs. Their bodies are made up of fibrous muscular tissue, with the teeth and hair being made out of chitin, chemically similar to those of the Cicadidae family. The eyes of 2852 instances, while looking non-anomalous from a distance, are set in the sockets without any nerve connection. While capable of speech despite having no vocal cords or analogous organs, 2852 instances do not show any grasp of language, speaking in a word salad. Despite this, all individuals at a 2852 compatible event will perceive the subject as speaking intelligibly and will regard its actions as normal, unless briefed of its anomalous properties beforehand. Individuals describe SCP-2852 as being playful with a crude sense of humor, and all individuals affected in a 2852 event will refer to the subject as Cousin Johnny. While they are sentient, 2852 instances do not appear to be sapient. These instances appear at various Catholic and Anglican religious functions and are treated as being an established member of the family. Instances are accepted regardless of family resemblance or ethnicity. The entity appears at baptisms, weddings, and funerals, referred to as blue level, white level, and black level events respectively. Currently, no instance has been found to appear at any other family gathering. All attempts at tracking SCP-2852 instances before and after an event have met with failure. The entities are able to appear at such events as though they had always been there, alternately appearing between frames when under surveillance or simply evading any attempt by operatives to keep them out of an event. All tracking devices placed on 2852 instances have malfunctioned immediately, with the entity evading any surveillance. Each family gathering that SCP-2852 attends results in different behavior from the subject and different effects. Generally, the effects of it appearing at a family gathering result in more serious damage done to children, although adults are not free from its effects. It is worth noting that stopping an instance before it involves itself in the religious ritual will not stop its effects from spreading, although they may be diluted. The appearance of SCP-2852 at an event is enough for its effects to start spreading among the family. When questioned after an event, all affected individuals report a feeling of fondness toward 2852, regardless of its actions during an event. SCP-2852's effects at a blue level event are present more strongly in the child being baptized, its parents, and any godparents chosen for the occasion. During the baptismal ritual, 2852 will involve itself directly in the proceedings, acting as a third godparent when traditionally there are only two, a male and a female. Blue level events proceed identically, despite the presence of a third godparent, until the child is submerged into the water. Immediately, the child's top layer of skin will slough off in one piece as though molting. This process does not seem to harm the child in any meaningful way. The godparents will then eat the skin between each other. Afterwards, the mass will go on as normal, and SCP-2852 will exit along with the family. It is of note that it does not appear at any family celebration held after the baptism. The baptized child has a chance of dying within the next 6 months, well above the national average. Living children exhibit multiple Cluster B personality disorders. Most join anti-capitalist groups, various GOIs, or, if unchecked, will engage in destructive behavior, usually manifesting in self-harm, abuse of animals, or abuse of small children. Godparents and biological parents will be rendered sterile, regardless of SCP-2852's success in becoming part of the baptismal ritual. Both groups will take their own lives within 5 years of a blue level event, normally through drowning. all individuals not involved in the baptismal ritual are 500% more likely than the national average to have stillbirths. Those who are still capable of having children are far more likely to abandon them, sometimes allowing the child to die in the process. Past adolescence and into adulthood, children exposed to the song of cicadas respond with extreme anxiety and accompanying physical symptoms such as dry mouth, nausea, vomiting, diarrhea, and headaches. Some subjects' agitation escalates into violent outbursts, which have resulted in at least 20 fatalities. When interviewed about the cause of their disturbance, no subjects have ever identified cicada song as a trigger for their episodes. During white level events, which occur during a marriage ceremony, SCP-2852 will insert itself as a groomsman, and its most deleterious anomalous effects will only manifest after the vows. After the rings have been exchanged, 2852 will produce various implements that allow the bridesmaids and groomsmen to pull out their teeth one by one. The individuals seem to be oblivious to any pain that would normally take place during such an event, and blood loss through still unknown means does not occur. The bride and groom will then be presented with the teeth and will eat them. Damage done to the bride and groom's teeth and jaw are extensive, but any blood loss that occurs will not be fatal. The groom will then, in place of vows, vocalize a currently unknown cicada song, which has been known to reach 140 decibels, rendering the bride and those standing on the altar deaf. Currently, no groom has been deafened by his own call. At the wedding reception, SCP-2852 will take the role of the best man and give a speech. This speech will be nonsensical with no pattern to the words used. Individuals will react to the speech with mixed emotions, some crying uncontrollably and others falling into hysterical laughter. After the speech, 2852 will produce a gift for the married couple. This gift currently has always been 3.5 kilograms of human hair of various colors, 13 deceased specimens of cicada, and 23 human teeth in a cardboard box. DNA testing on all gifts has been inconclusive. The bride and groom of a white level event will divorce on average 2 years after their wedding, usually as a result of domestic violence. Any children produced during their marriage will have cluster B personality disorders or life-threatening disfigurements. All married individuals attending the event will find themselves unable to have children despite a lack of detectable changes to fertility-related biology. Sperm counts and sperm quality remain unaffected. Ovulation also remains unchanged, and no genetic irregularities have been observed in eggs. All children involved in a white level event will avoid romantic relationships, and 9 out of 10 will take their own life by the age of 18. Roughly half pull out their teeth until blood completely blocks the airways, and the others bite their own wrists until exsanguinated. Black level events are notable in that any attempt to disrupt the event through any means results in the actor becoming a participant in the event. Currently, there exists no way to stop or end a black level event. Any attempts at barring 2852 instances from the church or funeral home results in it simply appearing in a pew. During a black level event, SCP-2852 will take the place of the eulogizer, even if one was not scheduled to speak during the Mass. The speech will be nonsensical, with no parents being found. However, as the subject speaks, the individual closest to the departed will open the casket and produce a long knife. The knives produced during a black level event are not seen before the event and disappear after the event's conclusion. The individual will then exsanguinate themselves, normally from the wrists, but there have been instances where individuals have slit their throats. In turn, 2 by 2, each attendant will use the knife to pour their blood into the casket. Children too young to exsanguinate themselves are helped by adults. Despite many losing enough blood to result in death, no physical effects are seen in the participants. SCP-2852's speech eventually turns into the song of an adult male cicada. All participants will respond with the same call, despite the song of the cicada being limited to the male. SCP-2852 will stand at the pulpit until each individual has bled themselves and will then walk to the casket and vomit a mixture of blood, wood pulp, and dead specimens of cicada. It is currently unknown how these instances are able to hold the mixture within themselves due to the lack of any cavity of sufficient size in its body. Once finished, the funeral mass will go on as normal, and the casket, filled with blood and SCP-2852's vomit, will be taken to the cemetery and lowered into the earth as is normal for a Catholic or Anglican funeral service. Black level events normally will end here. If a family gathering was planned to take place after the funeral, SCP-2852 will attend. Once all individuals affected have come to the location, it will vomit a similar mixture of blood, wood pulp, and dead cicada into a bowl. This mixture will be primarily eaten by the affected children. After this has been eaten, 2852 will give another speech of nonsensical words without patterns, strip itself, and lay upon a table. The participants will then eat its flesh until there is nothing left. During this, 2852 will still vocalize, even when suffering from mortal injuries. Participants have been known to carry on friendly conversations with it while eating it. Children unable to chew whole food properly will be fed mouth to mouth by any caregivers. All participants of a Black level event will break from their family either through murder, taking their own lives, moving, or divorce. Every individual involved in an event will be rendered sterile. Domestic violence in participants of Black level events will usually be of a cannibalistic nature, resulting in the death of one or both individuals. 6 out of 10 children involved will attempt to murder one or both of their parents before they turn 18. It is theorized that nearly a third of Catholic and Anglican D-Class were involved in a Black level event. Containment of SCP-2852 focuses on tracking and disruption of incidents where possible and general monitoring of 2852 compatible population centers. All individuals involved in Blue level and White level events are monitored extensively, and their identities are given to local law enforcement as potential terrorist threats. Even when disrupted, individuals involved in Blue level and White level events are cataloged, and their names are sent to local law enforcement agencies. Individuals witnessing the disruption of either event are given Class B amnestics. Black level events are monitored until conclusion. Afterwards, all participants are treated with Class A amnestics and are otherwise treated identically to those affected by other events. Members of Mobile Task Forces Upsilon 36, Upsilon 52, and Upsilon 99 who witness a Black level event are treated with Class A amnestics upon retirement or transfer and are monitored for any signs of antisocial or otherwise uncharacteristic behavior. If found to have been affected by the Black level event, operatives are amnesticized, suspended from all field operations, and redesignated to low-level, low-intensity work such as maintenance and data input. MTF-Y36 are tasked with responding to any SCP-2852 appearances. MTFs Y52 and Y99 are tasked to identify 2852 events and provide backup to MTF-Y36 as needed. While currently isolated to the North American subcontinent, all SCP-2852 compatible communities are monitored for an uncharacteristic rise in juvenile delinquency, sterility, domestic violence, and divorce rates.
Thank you for watching. And on this page, thanks to our members. If you are interested in supporting us, we have 3 tiers. bronze, silver, and gold. Each one comes with perks. We'll do our best to keep you up to date on what's going on. And special thanks to our patrons. Again, if you are interested in supporting us, the link to our Patreon is in the bottom left-hand corner, down here. Check the pinned comment by Tats, she has posted a link to our Discord. But that's enough from me. Let's see the creators of the video. Visit their social media links, if they provided you some entertainment. I'm XJ. Until next time.